Yeah.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Daily Fix. It is January 18th, Thursday for us in Canada, but it's probably tomorrow for everyone else on the other side of the world. I'm so excited. We're going to go back to the market cap and see where we're at. We're going to check the dominance. We've got some questions. I've got noob crap coming at you, whether you want to know it or not, because I have a lot of questions always. Yeah, I'm really excited. How are you today, Pope?
Interesting day. I woke up this morning to my phone being lit up. The sky is falling, the chicken littles, as I call it. Oh my God. It's tragedy with Bitcoin and the markets. And, the sheep did sheep things. They did a whole lot of sell-offs. Or it could also have been a good liquidity grab. I haven't gone out there to actually dig into any of the order books and what happened there. But when we kind of review what we've been looking at, it kind of played out. I looked at some of our notes, and it'll be interesting to show you all that. Again, if anybody has any questions at any time, let us know. I'm going to do the recap on everything that we've been kind of covering the last, 9 days now?
Yeah.
Which is crazy. Almost done week 2. It's nice to be here. It's nice to have the engagement with you guys in the Discord. And I'm going to share my screen. We can kick off. You can let me know and you can see it.
You know what I love? That people are watching through like Twitter and also YouTube, which is freaking fire. I have no idea who's coming from where, so it's great.
I have no idea how any of that part's done. So can you see my screen?
I can see it. Ann America's here.
Right.
Ashley's here. We're good.
Who's here? Sorry, I missed.
Ashley and Ann America are here saying hello.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. As we always do, the market cap, the dominance, Bitcoin and ETH. Let's fire off with the market cap. Righty. When we looked at this, probably a little more convoluted with all the squiggles from our show last time, but I like to leave them there. And you can see what we talked about. When we were here, oh, right, it's market cap. We can't do it on that, damn it. When we were here on this, we were saying we wanted to break out of this parallel channel, this line. We need the retest, which we didn't get, for it to take off. And if we get that retest, we want it. Or what else happens? Remember, this is our line for our triangle. We had the next choice. It would be consolidating, and we'd be extending our parallel channel. Or it was going to go down, and it was going to go down fast to this line of resistance that we drew with the pen, because it was right down here at our last level of support. Funny how that played out. I mean, not funny, because a lot of people lost some money, and if you were in there, you saw the market and how fast it drops. And that's something we've been talking about here. This is crypto. It takes a long time sometimes to have that much movement in other markets. With us, not so much. So that's why it's so important to watch the money flow, right? So just going to shrink it so I can see it a little better. $61.83 billion came out of the crypto market in 4 hours. 4.
Would that explain the chicken little situation that you were talking about at the top?
Exactly. The sky is falling, right? So what happens when that drops? Well, we go check our dominance. How much of this money now is Bitcoin? Right? Look at what it's doing. Right along that line we put in, it came out of our triangle that we thrown in on this last little one right here. And now it's retesting right there. We have the curve. But when dominance is barely moving and money is coming out of the market, that's when things bleed. right? And if you're in the market, now you're either triggered your stop loss, you've sailed through it, you didn't have one, and now we have to wait for that bottom where it will consolidate. And when we have that, if you were in that last situation, you buy it again to dollar cost your entry into that trade. Or you just play the waiting game and your capital's tied up for a bit. So, and you can see when we look at the bigger picture, we're still bouncing around these areas. And if we look at a little bit of the psychology of the market, sell the news, buy the rumors, one of the things you hear. What was going on this last while? Bitcoin finally got its ETF approval. There's a lot of people taking profits and coming out of the market. They inject it quickly into the alts and they move it out quickly. We've seen that in the term of 4 hours. Show me another market that does that. So that's going to have, obviously, ripple effects throughout the whole market. Our barometer, our thermostat for our crypto is Bitcoin. This is how we were marking it the other day. All right. Now, we were hoping to get this curl. That's what this was about, because here didn't exist. So when we were here, we were like, we want to break out, retest, and go. We had that minimal space. We wanted to see this. That's what we said. We wanted to see this. Well, Rolling Stone said, you don't always get what you want. And we didn't. Because, this is what ended up playing out. Look how fast that happens, right? But look that it's still following our line. And we weren't expecting this much of a drop in price. We knew the consolidation was going to happen. But if we were to go back in time and go, hey, let's draw more of our support and resistance lines in, we could have. We just didn't. Like I said, this is always quick and dirty. And we'll just add them here. There they are. There they are. Here's your support there. Now let's look.
This is why, you just don't make any decisions before you find out if it's going to follow these trends, right? Because
totally follow the data. That's a very good point. If our indicators aren't firing and you can't decide whether it's at that point of up or down, you don't have these curls and all the confluence of everything else, now you're gambling. Just find them. This game is patience. And that's why I said we have so many coins. That's why I'm excited about Monday, because I'm going to line them up. I'm going to go through them and I'll show you how I stack them. And then we target. Well, if this looks like an entry and these are 4-hour candles, right? It looks like, we might get another one consolidate here, a little bit there, a little bit there, a little bit there, maybe get 2 at once. We know we have at least 12 hours. Right, to make some kind of movement. So if it's not an entry now, let's look in 12 hours if you want to be sure. Right, and that's on the daily, of course. If you're going in and out on the lower time frames, it's a different story. But even when we zoom in on that 4-hour, look at it, and it just opened up again. We had that consolidation. Absolutely, we did in that spot. Now, does it make sense that here is going to be a hard one to hit? And it's at 42.2, 41.9, wherever that happens to be, just rough, quick and dirty. But the same thing as we said yesterday, there could be news, there could be a tweet from Elon, there could be a tweet from China, and this might send it down again. We don't have that curl. Right now, we have spread. And when I see that, now that's obviously on the 4-hour, but when I see that, I'm cautious. Or I'm looking at shorting if I was a shorter. So we know we're probably going to have these steps back up in this direction. Looks like there's another one right there. I haven't got into too much of support and resistance and getting really into the TA to get as close to the dollar value, just because this is quick, cheap, and dirty. When I'm doing it in, when I'm streaming it in our channel, when I'm doing it for myself on the battle station, absolutely I zoom in and I tighten it up. And you'll see how close we get to the numbers. It's weird.
And also it looks like on the Bollinger Bands, we may have a buy signal, but that green candle is not entering back in.
Exactly. Great catch. Absolutely great catch. Right. So we don't have a green end and we have spread down here, and our movement indicator, which I have at sets, I have it left at 70% still. Let's have a look. Yeah, so I have my probability of success as 70%. Oops, I should change that. Make it easier for you guys to see. And it's telling us it has at least a 70% chance to get here. When we're in here, we know it's going to drop, right? It doesn't have it down lower because that's where the probability breaks. But we can fib this when that happens. Right. So if we know there, for those that know your fib, oops. Look at that. For people that know fib, we're on the 618, the 618.
Did you do that over the green candle, or did you do that right on the, I'm confused about where you laid that?
Yeah,
sorry.
Okay, so that's as I said, quick and dirty. One of the things I like about the hold on. One of the things I like about our movement indicator is when you use Fibonacci with it. And we're going to do a lesson here soon enough on Fibonacci, and you'll see me do it while I'm marking some stuff up. Fibonacci was an Italian mathematician from ages ago, and he discovered a sequence, a pattern of numbers that exists in everything. If you've ever seen one of those snails that is cut in half and you can see all the rings going into the middle of that snail, that sequence is Fibonacci. You go down the rabbit hole of Fibonacci and it's like Matrix. It's weird. But you'll see one of our strategies coming up is we play these zones. We play these lines. And right now you're not seeing these lines just because they're actually buried by our support and resistance. And there's that. So when you start seeing all these different confluences being able to line up, and we're making educated decisions, it doesn't mean we knew it could go down. That was one of our options. And this is why with strategy, we have to be prepared for each situation, the win, the consolidation, and the pull down. And maybe you didn't want to use a stop loss because you have a lot of capital on the side that you can dollar cost entry in. Not the best strategy. It's using too much of your capital. It's lazy trading. But if you're paying attention to all the signals, the majority of the time we're going to win. But we also know there's going to be a few losses, of course. How do you mitigate it? How do you minimize it? So almost 62 billion came out of the market in 4 hours. The dominance, it mostly stayed in Bitcoin, the rest of the money. So we know it bled out of vaults. Bitcoin is now stabilizing right around that, like we talked about, those weird even numbers, 41,100, 41,000. These are these strange 40,500. These are just the strange patterns that kind of happens with these. I don't know why. It's just sometimes the psychology. Maybe the average amount of sheep will just pick the even number, for their stop loss. I don't know. I just know it happens. So we were talking about consolidating in here. Well, we definitely broke that trend, right? But when we've left this from ages ago. We said this was our highest level of support at that time. And that's why we put this bottom line in. Let's extend that line. Anybody surprised to become resistance after it dipped down? No. Where's our next level going to be? Right? It's going to be up here. Why are we pulling down? Because there was a decent amount of percentage movement there. If you have enough money in the game, it's 1.67%. When you're talking of people that play with $10 million, that's a fuck ton of money. They'll take it. And that's why I always say you need to watch the cash flow, the total market cap, and that dominance. Because we had these ideas that this was coming. We know it could break out and go down. Now it's at our resistance. I mean, without scrolling left to look at history, I mean, worst case scenarios, we're looking at around this price point. But we held here. I'm willing to go, and I'll go majority of the price actions. We know we have wicks. Let's scroll left. We already seen one resistance when we first passed it. It's on the 4-hour. I apologize. This might take a while. Let's do it on the daily. All right. So this is where I said we drew it. We can even change the color for easy, so we can easy see. All right. Where does that gray line fall? Makes sense. Support. Resistance.
It's amazing that you can just go back far like that and just see it hitting the same points.
So,
and you putting the Fibonacci on top in the last one, you could just see on your points of resistance that, it's just, yeah. Anyway, that was pretty cool.
And that's the power of this stuff. And that's the power of some of our indicators. When we use trading pairs that have tons of data points, that's where you can really fine tune stuff. We've had some trades that have over 6,000 backtested points. Now, sadly, you don't get to see that because you don't see the code. And I'll take pictures every now and then, but most people don't even know what that is. But it's remarkable. And it's all statistical odds. And then when you lay in how indicators work, how TA works, it just gives us a bigger picture to make more reasonable decisions with your money. If I'm in Ethereum right now, or if I'm looking at getting into Ethereum on the daily, this was done on a 4-hour, right? On a daily, we can go probably right there now. That's where we've been consolidating since, last week. Makes sense to me that since we kept the support after breaking down with that wick, it came down at support. Makes sense to me. We're probably going to take off again because of the market, but we do have this curl. Who knows? But with what money flow, with what money flow has been doing, yes, I know that. We can see, and I was talking about this the other day, when it's coming in hard and fast, and it's leaving just as fast, right? So we got up to there because the wick is there, right? That's 162, almost 163 billion in a day. That's massive money. And then it came right back out. Obviously, this would be negative as opposed to positive, to the tune of 210 in a day and 8 hours. If you want to make money, if you want to stack capital in this game and you're playing on the lower time frames and you're not looking at this shit, I'm taking your money. It's that simple. It really is. But it's discipline and it's watching, it's work. And that's why I want to do the different trading series that have slow and fast trading. Because I understand not everybody can watch us all day. I get that. But if you can, this perspective and these tools is going to change your game on top of what you already know if you're an experienced trader. So we've looked at now pretty much everything that we've been talking about for the last, 9 days. And it's been playing out pretty much how we've been saying. Let's look at what, Casper's been doing and how we've been talking about that when we were introduced to it. I'll be honest, I didn't know much about this token.
I think we can thank Amir for that. Now we're
Right?
obsessed with watching it.
But it's good to watch TA that you've done in the past and you're learning this token. Doesn't matter what it is, in my opinion, because we started back here and we still haven't broke where we said. I've said how many times I wouldn't enter if I was in a long position. Guess what? I'm still not going to enter. Bitcoin shits the bed. How much did this go down in the day? I just use this one, right? 7.25%. For some people's stock portfolio, they don't even make half that a year the last few years. That moved in one direction in a day. That's why people get scared of this market. But the flip side of that token is when you learn how to master these entries and exits and grab small percentages, you're grabbing them the other way. If you short, you can grab them. You can long turn around and short and do the exact same thing, but reverse, everything stays the same. The principles, the strategy, everything. You'd make money on both ways. When people say, oh, you make your money in a bull market. No, you make your money following money. It doesn't matter if it's going up and down on the way up or on the way down. It's still going up and down. If you know how to get in the bottoms and get out of the tops, what difference does it make in what direction it goes?
Right? And also, if you're spending so much time looking at it, oh, it's so funny. Totally forgot what I was going to say. Never mind. Continue. I had 8 thoughts, and now none of the ones that are in my head contribute to this. So keep going. It'll come back to me.
We just went back to the daily. We haven't made any other changes than today since the markups we've been doing. We extended this line, which we can see right here became resistance. But we said if we broke here, we would most likely come down here. Right? And look at what we're doing. Right? And when we look at this parallel channel, 1 touch, 2 touch, 3 touch, it makes sense that we're going to come down. Even here, we got the 3rd that came down. So technically, this might be a new one. And it looks like up until right here, we were always holding this median. So on the daily, Casper now is fighting to get the fuck over this blue line. Or it's coming down. Now we'll start adding some data. Or it's coming down. She's going down, down, down. All right. And this is, like I said, quick and dirty there and there. Actually, I'll take that one away. And we'll just continue to play it out. But when we also look at technical, as we've been learning parallel channels and 3 touches, we've got 3 touches, but we still need to come out and retest. Because if we haven't done that, it's going to stay on this path down. We'll go to the top there. So it needs to retest before it takes off to these areas of support and resistance. And when we say we're hunting and we can start to see that we're entering a micro bear, now, if we just look at the indicators, what are we doing? We're going down, 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 right? So what this helps us with is where are we stopping? Or vice versa, when we go up, where are we stopping? Where does it make sense to put our take profits? Where does it make sense for us to look at these entries? Well, we know we got to follow this line, or until it breaks it, then we're looking at a curl on an entry. So again, would I get into Casper right now? Only if I was shorted. But now we're getting into that area where who knows? You know, we should have got into shorting up in here when we can notice the money going down, consolidation after a nice up. And then money going down, I mean, money leaving the total market caps. As soon as that happens, alts bleed, right? When you know that's happening and you like shorting, short alts, you'll make fortune.
Oh, there you go. Perfect time. Primo, freaking killing it. Can you read that there, Pope?
No, I only ever see my screen.
Okay, I'll read it to you then. In the modules, you said to add the pairs with Binance and USDT. Casper is in the MEXC. I don't know if I'm saying that right.
Okay.
Will the indicator work on it properly? Is the question.
Yes, some no. It's a mixed answer. I'm curious. I've heard some feedback that you haven't got all the indicators. If you hadn't heard, I had a developer issue, but it looks like we're back on track. So there's been a few delays in certain things, and we're always in development. If you don't know, I bought 1/3 of an IP company, and that's how I get to do this with you, because I wanted those rights. And one of our indicators is called the take profit target. When you understand how it works, it's beautiful. When you don't, you're not going to understand it. And it only works on certain trading pairs and certain time frames. And I've debated for a long time, do I release it or do I keep fine tuning it? But when you start to understand how it works, you layer other things over it, and you don't just use that, it's still a very powerful tool. The fact, I have heard from a few of you, well, some of you didn't have your address and TradingView on the website, so you DM me. I didn't know that till today. And we work on opposite world times. So it will be, if you've reached out and I said, I'll get you, you'll have it soon enough. And then if you do know programming, I just basically need to do an API hook on my CSV CMS system with NFA OFC website to drop it into TradingView. That was what was supposed to be done, but it hasn't been. So now it's a manual process. But yeah, long story of that is we are looking with this company at doing all sorts of things still. With, and then ideas come in the head, and I work with them to go, hey, can we make this? Because this is what I'm seeing. Blessings of being neurodivergent, I guess. So when we look at this high and do some technical analysis, I mean, we can use a parallel channel. Why not make this picture a little more complicated? All right. One touch, two touch. We need to come and break out of this channel before we take off again. And we're going from this high. This pattern that we drew earlier in the week, it's broken, other than it's holding this line. But we already know we got a better line there. So I'm just going to take it away. So now we know we'll probably go up, down, or as soon as we retest, we're off to the races. When we're off to the races and we get that retest, we're looking for these zones of resistance to be our take profits. And when we're comparing a bundies, when we find entries, say this is our zone, just for easy viewing sake, that's 5.39%. You might sail through that in a few hours or in a day compared to what it's normally doing. Right? And 5% a day, like I told you, 25% failure rate, 60 trades, 48 successful, that's a 10x. Right? So it's huge. But now we know we're going down. So probably not the best place to be at. So we just go on to the next. I'm going to save Casper. I've had it as just a single. These do your screen layouts. I've had a few questions. I'll probably make a video on TradingView. What we've been looking at.
That'd be great. I would also really like to see kind of what tools you can make your own little toolbar up there, and what tools you have on hand, which we can see, but It's
That should, I know we did that in the modules, whether that got public, we had like 350 some odd videos, and you can see how I already ramble. And that's why Primo and Chris make me look so good. So I know they've been done. It's whether or not we remember got them all uploaded. So that's why we do like the feedback, because if we're missing something, A, we may already have it, or B, it doesn't take us long to spin off one or two. I've already got a small list from some of the feedback. As of next week, we'll start shooting those, editing those, and having those up on the site as well. And then before I go tonight, I'll show you a couple of things I've been working on all day that I wish I had when I was starting out. And it took a long time to learn it, compile it, and get it. Now you have it. And I'll show you at the end. Fetch AI, we've been looking at here and there, and I've been a fan of this. So we were doing this on the 4 hours. So let's get back to that time frame. We made our support and resistance here. What did we say is going to happen? We were in this area consolidation. What do we know that happens when you get out to the triangle like we talked about? We need a retest. And out, we didn't get it. Up here, didn't get it. What happened? We sailed right down to we said where we thought we would because of the last support and resistance. This little star here brings up your toolbar. Any tools that you commonly use, like if you go into here, if you star them, that's how they add up in here. I like to learn the order that you like them in first, because sometimes you can drag and drop them and sometimes you can't. I don't know why. I don't know if that's just a thing with the program. So this didn't pan out. It was the option, but it didn't pan out. Neither did that one. That one sure did. Right till we thought, and I always try to draw these end of the lines where that support and resistance goes back in the past, right? And we did this on the day when we did it, I think. But so now we've broken pattern. We know this is no longer our support and resistance, so let's get rid of it. We know we're not consolidating in here. Let's get rid of it. And this is where I mean, don't get married to your TA. You know, we're right here. Makes sense. Makes sense that we might be going out of this level. All right, so that was one of the possibilities we said was going to happen. That did. What are we looking at here now? 1 touch, 2 touch. All right, just line it up proper. Some people, like I said, go off wicks. Some people go off candle bodies. Just stick to whatever you're actually using. Don't do a wick here and a body here. Go wick to wick to wick. Or body to body. So this makes sense. You know, if you were shorting compression, little micro bear, even micro bear, micro bull indicator, and it's going down. That's telling us it's going down. So if we really want to look in the past, let's jump on the daily instead of scrolling a whole bunch of hours. And we'll drop some more. I'll lock the tool, little tool lock button there. So now I'm on our horizontal line tool, which always will light up the price of those, right? So we can start to see on the daily where these support and resistance levels are. And you don't have to worry about being perfect. I like the bodies because that's where the majority of the price action is. And even on the daily, we can see on our way down, now technically on the daily, oops. If I'm going to do it proper, you should do it on the daily or the weekly. And I'm going to go off the bodies here because it's just a little easier with this mouse. So right now, it's looking like this bottom line of the triangle is going to be right around in here, which makes sense. Wicks came down. We'll probably maybe see a little bit of pullback over the next little bit, because money's probably starting to spill into the market. But same thing. Am I getting into this right now as somebody that's looking for a long? No. We have no idea what that's doing. We haven't come out and retest and taken off again, whether it's to here, whether it's to here. We haven't seen that. If you want to protect your capital and play smart, it's boring. Told you that from the modules. But boring makes you money. This is playing smart. Wait for the retest, wait for the curl. It's not there. This is starting to go. Maybe you should short. You might make some, you'll probably get down somewhere in here by the look of it. If I was a shorter, that's what I'd be doing. I would have entered somewhere in here as soon as the liquidity started leaving the market. I probably would have timed it up in here for a short. And I probably would have taken my profit down here. Why? Because the people that understand that and have this kind of tools at their disposal, that's a quick 11%. What was the other one we were looking at?
You said Rune?
No, we did that quickly, and I don't have that. Stacks is one that we've talked about a few times that I think is going to be a heavy this year. And the reason I believe this is going to be a heavy hitter is because this is a layer 2 solution, which is something that lives over on top of another blockchain to make it more efficient. This is a layer 2 solution for Bitcoin. I believe this year that's going to be a big narrative. And there's some promising looking projects. And when we just go from current price to its localized recent high, 40%. Right? And we know we got some ways to go. But do we want to get in right now?
I don't know, man. All of this red is freaking me out. And I know that it's like meaning that these buys are going to come soon, but the FUD that affects everything is something that really
is real.
And so unpredictable, right?
If you live on the Twitter timeline and all you read or listen to the news is negative shit all the time, of course. And that's why I always say, just pay attention to the numbers. Numbers don't lie, people do. So yeah, it looks like, we're coming right up to a cross for a micro bear, which makes sense because we've had a bunch. When 1, 2, 3 touch, we didn't break out. Maybe we do retest here and we start to consolidate along these lines. Or we're going to start going down to these different support and resistance levels. And when that happens, this is like going into your favorite store and getting a sale. And so this is where the patience comes in. We wait, but we check it frequently. All right, I'm on lock. So these are the possibilities on a daily. We haven't been much past this level here. It doesn't mean it's not a possibility. And we know we're not in that buy pressure yet. So we wait if we're long it. This is a beautiful entrance for a short. If you're short, it's a great entrance. There's a trade for you. All right. If we just line that up, next level, 2.99. Next level, 12.44, right? Like these lines might not look like much, but those add up massively. And that's why the patience part of this game pays off so well, because you just need to wait for certain circumstances and you get it. And then you just keep checking. If you're operating on the daily time frame on everything, operate on the daily time frame of everything. But if you're going to be on those lower time frames, know where it's going from a bird's eye view And then if you zoom down in the lower ones, understand the movement is down. So if you're trying along in a downward motion, you got to be in and out so fast. That's a pro game. I would be short it, like I said, if you want to play smart, if you don't want to play that game. But we haven't quite curled. We're there. We're definitely curled. We pulled back a bit. How much was that pullback? Oh, right. Oh, I hate this mouse. 4.39%. And this could easily start to turn the other direction and retest this line and go on the weekly. Same thing on the daily. If this comes out retest, we're golden.
Targaryen suggested I change everything to the candles to black and white so the red doesn't freak me out so much.
That there are people that do that, that use a solid and a hollow body. That's not bad at all advice. If that works for you, why not? Now, would I move this up to catch this top here? If I was trading on the fours, I would do it on the fours. But I know that we drew this line down, this parallel channel on the daily. So when I zoom in, that's not a retest. It is quickly on this time frame. But it comes down. Did we take off? No, it went straight down. And we can see it splitting there. We're starting to separate. A little bit of an entry, and that's where some indicators are wrong. Red out, green in. But if you only had that indicator, maybe you would have bought there. But if you understand how our micro bears and our micro bulls work, and you understand that this line coming down on the daily is where it's always fighting to get over, we need a lot more candles on a 4-hour to get above this line if we drew this on the daily. But if we drew it on there, boom, right? If we're playing on the 4-hour, yeah, we had a little up there. Is it much? Probably not. But some people will take those tiny percentages. 3.63. Not bad at all, actually. So that there is kind of what we've been watching for the last little bit. I can't see the screen. Are there any questions, comments?
Desi was mentioning, there it is up there, mentioning the Trading View alerts, which I've actually never used, and I didn't know they were there. Have you ever used those, Pope?
Yeah, not as often, because when I trade, I'm more sitting right in front of it. We are going to have, and we've been working on, Chris and I, who is always going to be away on Thursdays, if you didn't know that. We're working on getting that video shot. It is a wonderful tool, actually, it's great on any time frame if you leave your station, because it's going to ping you when anything happens. We'll walk you through step by step on that, as opposed to just trying to quickly show you now. And to be honest, like I said, I don't use them that often, because when I trade, I'm usually in it until I leave. I like to get I like to make my percentages. And when I've made my percentages, I'm holding USDT again. I'm not leaving it in for long. So an alert for me, when I watch hundreds of coins at a time, the only way that would actually work is if I'm in a longer trade. And if I'm in a longer trade, I'm holding like a long time. Like some of these coins we're going to show you that are, the price of entry now to previous highs with a low market cap are, 30,000%. I'm not going to get in and out of that. I'll throw $1,000 or $500 at it and just wait. So there's different kinds of strategies with that level as well, and how we do that. So one of the things I've worked on today is, yeah, and you are paying for it. It's a good point, Desi. We'll definitely get that. One of the things I'm about to drop in the Discord has been something I've been working on the last couple of days. Like I said earlier, it was something I wished that was available to me at the time. This is in the questions channel on our website. This will have a downloadable PDF version, which is nice and printer friendly. I just put it in there. It is basically your candle patterns, the basic ones to first learn. There's a million of these things. You don't need to know them all, is what I found. I find these ones work. And there's a lot of people, like, I don't really question the why. And I use an analogy of electricity. I use it every day, but I don't understand it. I don't know ohms, resistance, transformers, all these kind of things. But I know when I hit the light switch, the light comes on. So for me, sometimes I don't need to go down that rabbit hole of all the stuff behind the light switch. I just need to know when I hit it, it does what it's supposed to do. Same thing with making mistakes. Not everything's perfect. Light bulb's going to burn out from time to time, but I don't let that get me down. I don't get that energy over it. These are something I wish that I had when I started, was understanding them. Once you get the patterns of either continual or reversal, then look at the candlesticks. The candlestick patterns, definitely a little more for advanced trading, but I want you to have them because everybody is plowing through at different rates. And I don't want to hold anything back. But if you're going in and you're really new, don't look at the candlestick patterns yet. Once you've mastered all the other stuff and you're like, I can learn some new shit, then focus on the candlestick patterns. Same thing with the take profit target. I'll look into like I said, after this, who got what algos and if they're missing any. That one is more advanced, and I contemplated for a long time whether or not we'd release it. Like I said, when you know you use it, it's a good tool. The last sheet in there is the bell curve of adoption. And we're only, in my opinion, we're just getting into actually, I'm going to share this if I can here. Thanks, Drew. All right. If you haven't seen this yet, the cheat sheet, this is crazy how you can lay this over, and not just Bitcoin, so many coins. And when you zoom out and in the right ways, it's literally just how all the sheep will act, and where we're at. I kind of think we're still in this disbelief pull down here. We haven't had much. We've been having a bull run, if you've been listening to me, since last year, not in the NFT space and the crypto and the stocks price. We've got higher highs and higher lows for a year. Now we're actually starting to get up in here, right? But we're going to have that pullback because sell the news. I don't know how much you follow on the news and the Bitcoin ETFs. The Bitcoin ETF has been out for how long? It's already surpassed silver. There's more liquidity in an ETF fund in a few days than all of the silver, the second most precious metal on the planet. In gold, like in the commodities, like that's massive, and if you don't think people are playing these kind of events, of course, it's like everybody's talking about the Bitcoin halving. Yeah, it's great. It's coming. Major profits come later. There's probably going to be a massive pullback when it happens. Why? Because they're stockpiling now, sell the news. And then above this is kind of where we're at. And this bell curve adoption, this works in anything. This isn't just for crypto, right? In the very beginning, you have your innovators. You have your early adopters who typically fund your innovators. Then there's a long time here. This takes quite a while because what are these two people doing? They're building, they're spending money, and then now they have to find people to agree that this is a good thing. And then everybody that's been this is bullshit or it's garbage or it's fear and doom finally succumb to it. How many people do you know when online shopping first came out? You're going to buy something on the internet. Crazy. Right?
Oh yeah,
And that,
people didn't want to put their credit cards on anything.
and that,
Now that's our phones carry the credit cards.
right? And that's just ignorance. Your credit card's already out there. You don't
Hmm.
have to spend it online. It lives online, right? And it's just like the ignorance out there of what was his name on, I think the head of JP Morgan or whatever it was like Satoshi's just going to make more Bitcoin, and like how do you say you know nothing about the technology without saying you know nothing about the technology, but people will
But
buy that.
people, yeah, they'll buy it because they don't know anything about the technology either.
Yeah.
You know.
So right now we're in that early majority, the first part of the early majority. And the reason I say that now is because we have commercial in. We've had commercial in for a couple of years. Starbucks and Walmart have adopted the Polygon network 2 years ago. They haven't stopped. We now have ETFs. We have MasterCard and Visa a year and a half ago doing crypto. So once commercial is in the market, retail follows. We're not at the retail stage yet. We are still massively early. You're not missing, you're not FOMOing, there's no worries. And we now already know there's always another trade. Doesn't matter, market goes up, market goes down. You only need to claim a whole bunch of small percentages. And somebody was in my DMs today, I'll leave them nameless, and they're like, I can't do the 5%. I keep screwing it up. And I'm like, did you master 3? Oh, no. I'm like, did you check your journal? Where are your mistakes? Right. And if you're not tracking, how do you expect to learn your mistakes? Right. If you haven't mastered the step below it, why even trying with above it? Right. It's like giving somebody that barely knows how to drive a 1,500 horsepower car. Things are going to go wrong, you know? So this game, as much as you always hear me say, is patience. It's little steps, and it doesn't take long. This time next year, we'll be laughing if you just got in and you're a noob and you don't know much, right? Especially now that I'm going to be trading on that live on Mondays and just marking up my shit and screen sharing. You'll be looking at the battle station view and then a screen share. You don't get to see the beautiful filter. I apologize. But it's just so I can share as much information as I can with you, and I'll walk through what I'm seeing. And if you're in there and you're seeing something different, or you have a question, holla. That's what it's all about. Or if you found something, like I said, from day one, I don't know it all. We're stronger together, and we have some great people in our group already. So I'm stoked for Friday. I'm stoked for tomorrow. It's Friday and then the weekend. And then I'm also excited for Monday to start doing this. I did drop in, like I said, the question channel, some cheat sheets. Those will be full res printable PDFs. They're built in 8.5 by 11, so you can print them off and have them. I still use them from time to time. You just look at them and it becomes second nature. And then you see the patterns on the charts. Then you lay over your indicators. You're like, it is a cheat code.
I think you made me keep them computer side for the first little while. Just print it off just so I had a reference.
Yeah, and if they
Because
get
it's
grungy,
yeah. Sorry.
I was saying if they get grungy, just print a new one, or laminate them. But I know some traders, you can get massive ones that have a ton of them, and you can buy those on Etsy or whatever. They're laminated like a big poster, and they have them in their wall. But I find that it just becomes overly complicated. I've had success with just these few things. And then I find people like Lord Desi showed me that one indicator, and we're going to be making a module on it. And it's a free public access indicator. That's awesome. It gives you some great information.
Do we get to know what it's called? What's it called?
Mother the fuck.
Desi, throw it in there.
Yeah, I can't remember what it's called, but what it does is it measures your buy and sell and your volume in one little like candle on the bottom, so you can see how much versus buys and sells you're having for that candle. so you can see the buy or the sell pressure. It's just another visual way to learn information, like crypto bubbles. I always have 2 screens of crypto bubbles going at once. The daily.
We can see them. We can see that battle station. A
Right.
rolling cumulative volume.
Thank you. Yes.
Thank
And
you for the win.
And there are a couple of little changes in the settings to make it a little easier and nicer to look at. We'll walk through those. But it does. It's great information. It's better than any volume I've ever used. And I never even knew it existed. I'm always like, oh, I wish this was out there. And it was, I want to say, like right when we started, first or second day. And that's when I knew. I was like, this is exactly what I built this for. Like, this is awesome. So again, we're coming up to the hour. If we don't have any more questions, I'm just trying to keep it as consistent as we can. Learn some TA by following the same coins that we started with. Just because we're doing it on them doesn't mean they're my favorite coins by any means. Don't love it, don't hate it, don't date it, just trade it. And you're going to have, hopefully by tomorrow, like I said, with the indicators that you got, and I'll double check why you didn't get them all for some of you. You'll have all these, the trading journal, the bearish patterns, the bullish patterns, and all that stuff I just dropped, plus another couple of goodies. So we're all ready to go Monday. And if you can tune in, feel free. I don't know if we'll record them because that's a lot. That's a lot of garbage to watch. It is kind of paint dry. But if we get some good questions and good segments, yeah, we'll cut those out, mix them up. Thank you so much again for tuning in. It means the world. Thank you for when you help us get the word out there for other people that want to learn how to do this. I always say the retweets, and I like to poke the bear. You may have seen that with some of my posts. Shake them up, wake them up. And if you do have friends that would love to train, you think they would be good in here, hit my DMs. Absolutely. Once again, thank you.
I'm not going to be here tomorrow. So, you know, do it good. I'm not going to be here tomorrow evening. So, you know, answer. I'm going to a comedian with my son that I got him for Christmas that we've been waiting to see for a really long time. So I'm going to miss you all, guys. I'm excited to watch the recording after and learn some crap.
The recording, speaking of recordings, do take a little bit to get on YouTube due to the download, the compression and stuff like that. So we're trying to find a faster way so they're not a full day behind. But by doing this format that we've switched to versus the other, there has been a couple of hiccups along the way, but thanks for growing with us in our growing pains. But we'll have this streamlined in no time. And again, thanks again. And
thanks, everybody. Thanks for sticking around with us.
Chris's job today. You killed it from my perspective.
Thanks, Primo.
Nice.
You're the best. Thanks, Battle Station. A pleasure.
Now I don't want to watch tomorrow because Katie's away. Nah, yep. I get it.
I've got a fan.
Yeah.
All right, you guys. Thanks so much. Really appreciate it. Daily Fix. Let's do it again tomorrow.
See you at 7 p.m. PST.
Bye, everybody.